My beloved child, before I reveal what I am about to say, listen to me with the seriousness of your breath, because this message carries the weight of heaven, and before anything else, you must subscribe to this channel and watch this entire video till the end, because if you stop even for a second, you will miss the correction, the protection, and the divine shield your son desperately needs right now. Your son, the one you carried in your prayers, the one you held in your trembling hands, the one you dreamed for when the world was against you. He is walking too close to the edge of a danger he cannot see, but I see everything, I hear everything, and today I speak because the time for silence has ended, the time for waiting is gone, and now, my beloved child, I must warn you, your son is in danger, not from the shadows you fear, but from a path opening right under his feet. A path that seems harmless on the surface but carries consequences that will wound his destiny, slow his blessings, and threaten the future I have written for him, and I cannot allow him to fall when you have cried for him, interceded for him, and begged me to protect him. So hear me now as I speak clearly. Your son needs immediate correction, not a correction from anger, not a correction from fear, but a correction from awareness, from divine instruction, from the wisdom I am placing in your heart right now. Because something around him, someone around him, or some influence near him is slowly pulling his steps in a direction that is not meant for him, and while he thinks he is strong, he does not realize that the danger does not always come dressed as danger. Sometimes it comes as a friend, sometimes as a habit, sometimes as a distraction that eats away his purpose little by little until destiny is choked by delay. And I, the Lord your God, am stepping into this moment to stop the destruction before it begins. Because I have chosen him, I have marked him, and where he is about to go is not where he is meant to be. So listen, there is a conversation he is hiding, or a plan he is considering, or a decision he is about to make, and he believes no one knows, but I know, and I am telling you that if you do not guide him, confront him gently, redirect him with firmness and love, he will fall into a trap set not by the world but by spiritual forces that want to turn him away from the path of greatness I have built for him, and this danger is growing silently in the background, like a seed planted in darkness, and if he continues without correction, that seed will grow into consequences too heavy for him to carry. But because you are listening to my voice, because your spirit is paying attention, because your love for your child reaches heaven, I am revealing this warning not to frighten you but to awaken you, to strengthen you, to prepare you, because you have been asking me, Lord, show me what I cannot see. And this is my answer to your prayer. Your son is being tested, not by me, but by influences that want to shape him into something he is not, pull him into circles that do not belong to him, or push him toward actions that will dishonor his future. And I need you to speak to him, remind him who he is, remind him who raised him, remind him of the values you planted like seeds when he was young, because those seeds are still there. They only need light, they only need your voice, they only need your presence, and if you correct him now, with strength and love, you will stop an unseen disaster from touching his life. For I have not called him to danger, I have called him to purpose. I have not called him to confusion, I have called him to clarity. I have not called him to harm, I have called him to destiny. And my beloved child, I want you to hear this. Your son listens to you even when he pretends he does not. His heart absorbs your words even when his face shows resistance. And the correction you give him now will become the protection he thanks you for later, because he is standing at a crossroads. One road leads to delay, heartbreak, and unnecessary pain, and the other leads to alignment, maturity, and blessing, and you, by my command, must guide him to the right road, because destiny depends on decisions, and decisions depend on direction, and direction begins with correction, and the danger I see around him is not bigger than my protection. But I cannot force what you must guide, I cannot fix what you refuse to confront, I cannot block what you allow. So stand strong, my beloved child, and do not be afraid to correct him, because you are not acting alone. Heaven stands behind you, my angels will accompany your words, my presence will soften his heart, and my Spirit will give you the exact moment, the exact tone, and the exact wisdom to speak to him, and when you do, the danger will lose its power, the trap will dissolve, the wrong influence will break, the confusion will scatter, and the covering of heaven will settle over your home like a shield of light, because I your God do not warn without reason, I do not speak without purpose, and I have chosen this moment to protect your son before he steps into something he cannot undo. So listen, obey, guide him, and stay alert, because this warning is not to scare you, it is to save him, and once you correct him, once you redirect him, once you stand firm, everything that was planning to harm him will collapse, every shadow standing near him will retreat. Every danger surrounding him will fall powerless, and your son will be restored, protected, guided, and lifted toward the future I have prepared for him, for I am the Lord, and I speak because I love him, and I speak through you because your voice is the doorway through which his destiny is guarded. So be courageous, my beloved child, for this correction is the beginning of his transformation, and the ending of his danger. My beloved child, now that you have heard my warning and felt the weight of my words, I need you to understand something deeper, something hidden beneath the surface of what you see, because the danger around your son is not just physical, not just emotional, but spiritual in its roots, subtle in its arrival, and persistent in its intention, and while you are thinking about how to correct him, how to guide him, how to speak to him without pushing him away, I am preparing the path ahead of you. Aligning the atmosphere, touching his heart, and weakening the influence that has been pulling him away from the purpose I designed for him, because I do not abandon my children, and I will not let this danger grow into destruction. But my beloved child, correction must be timely, and this moment is sacred, this moment is divine, this moment is intentionally placed before you because your son's spirit is at a turning point. And though he may appear strong, rebellious, confused, or distant, know that he is not beyond my reach, and he is not beyond your voice, and what you say in the next few days will shape his next few years, because destiny responds to alignment, and alignment begins when truth is spoken without fear. So do not hesitate, do not delay, do not assume he will fix it on his own, because the danger around him is not waiting, it is moving, it is whispering, it is pulling. It is trying to convince him that he does not need guidance, that he does not need your wisdom, that he does not need my covering, and this is why I speak urgently. I need you to become the anchor that stops him from drifting into the wrong hands, the wrong choices, the wrong places, because lately he has been suppressing something, hiding something, or avoiding something, and he thinks by staying silent he is protecting you or protecting himself. But silence is where the enemy hides, silence is where doubt grows. Silence is where temptation whispers louder, and if he continues without correction, without your intervention, he may step into a decision that carries long-term consequences, and I will not allow that, because you have prayed too deeply, cried too honestly, and held on too faithfully for him to be lost to a path that was never meant to be his. So my beloved child, listen to me closely. When you speak to him, your voice will be guided by my Spirit, your words will carry a weight he cannot ignore. Your presence will remind him of who he is, because he has forgotten something. He has forgotten the roots of his upbringing, the foundation you laid, the prayers you prayed, the faith you carried, and the sacrifices you made, and he has forgotten that he is chosen, marked, protected, and favored. And I need you to restore this memory in him, even if he resists at first, even if he becomes defensive, even if he pretends not to care. Because the correction I am asking you to give him is not about control, it is about protection, not about fear, it is about revelation, not about punishment, it is about preparation. And when you correct him, something in the spirit realm will break, something hovering around him will flee, something that wanted to sabotage him will collapse, because you are not speaking with your own strength, you are speaking with mine, and I will stand behind every word, every breath, every moment you show him the truth, and as you correct him, as you stand firm, as you choose courage over silence, I will place my hand on him, softening his heart, opening his ears, calming his emotions, and leading him back to the path he was meant to walk, because his destiny is great, his future is blessed, and the danger surrounding him has no authority when you stand in the position I have given you. And after this correction, you will see signs, you will feel shifts, you will notice changes, because I, the Lord your God, will begin rearranging relationships in his life, removing the ones that are harmful, exposing the ones that hide ill intentions, elevating the ones that carry purpose, and bringing clarity to situations that once confused him, because correction leads to alignment, alignment leads to direction, direction leads to elevation, and elevation leads to destiny, and I have destined him for greatness, and no danger, seen or unseen, will be allowed to rewrite what I have written for him. So rise with courage, my beloved child, for this next step you take in guiding your son will shape generations, and heaven is with you in every breath. My beloved child, now that I have prepared your spirit and opened your understanding, listen even more carefully, because what I am about to reveal is deeper than danger and greater than correction. It is the true reason why the enemy has been circling your son, why certain people suddenly appeared in his life, why certain thoughts began entering his mind, why certain distractions became louder, and why his heart has been feeling restless, distant, or overwhelmed, for the enemy never attacks without purpose, he only attacks what carries value, and your son carries a destiny that threatens darkness, he carries a calling that shakes the plans of the enemy, he carries a light that exposes lies, and because the enemy cannot touch what I have shielded, he attempts to influence the heart, confuse the mind, weaken the focus, and cloud the judgment, and that is why this moment is critical. Because your son is standing in a sensitive season, a season where one wrong voice can shift him, but one right correction from you can save him, and my beloved child, I need you to understand that your son is more spiritually sensitive than you think, he feels more than he speaks, he absorbs more than he reveals, and the emotional storms he faces inside his own mind are louder than the world knows, and while he tries to act strong, he is privately battling questions about his identity, his direction, his choices, and his worth. And this vulnerability is what danger is trying to exploit. Slipping lies into his thoughts like poison, telling him he is alone, telling him he is misunderstood, telling him he should walk away from guidance, telling him he can handle everything alone, but I tell you, he cannot, not yet, for he is still growing, still learning, still forming the discipline and wisdom needed to stand firm on the path of his destiny, and I have placed you in his life as the guardian of his purpose, the voice of my instruction, the shield of my wisdom, because when you speak, it stabilizes him in ways he cannot explain, and that is why the enemy fears your correction, because your correction carries my authority, and when you speak truth to him, the enemy loses its influence instantly, and my beloved child, I must now reveal to you that there is someone or something around him, whether a person, a behavior, a hidden habit, or an emotional burden, that has been trying to lead him away from the direction I ordained, and your son has been struggling internally, trying to choose between what he knows is right and what feels easy, between what is purposeful and what is convenient, between the path of discipline and the path of distraction, and while he is trying to handle it silently, thinking he can solve it alone, he does not see what you see, he does not know what I know, and he does not recognize the danger standing right behind the choice he is considering. And this is why I am calling you forth as his guide, as his voice, as his protection. Because your son is at a threshold, a spiritual doorway, and what he chooses next will determine whether he steps into delay or destiny, confusion or clarity, heartbreak or breakthrough, and I will not let him be swallowed by the wrong influence, not when he has been chosen by me, not when your prayers cover him, not when heaven has invested so deeply into his future. So my beloved child, rise with boldness. For your next action, your next conversation, your next correction will not only protect him, it will awaken him, it will remind him of his identity, it will open his eyes to the manipulation he could not see, and it will pull him out of the shadow that wants to distract him, because when you speak, you will be guided by my Spirit, and something in him will shift, something will break, something will awaken, something will strengthen, because I, the Lord, will place divine clarity in your words, and through your correction, your son will be redirected back to the path he was destined to walk, and the danger surrounding him will lose its grip completely. My beloved child, now that you understand the depth of this battle surrounding your son, allow me to take you even further into the truth that has been unfolding behind the scenes, because while you have been worrying about his choices, his direction, and his emotional shifts, I have been watching the spiritual environment around him, observing every influence, every whisper, every hidden intention, every unseen temptation, every door that tries to open without my permission, and every voice that tries to shape him without my guidance. And I must tell you, my beloved child, that the enemy has been attempting to reach him through subtle cracks formed by exhaustion, confusion, frustration, and the silent burdens he carries in his heart, burdens he has never fully spoken to you, burdens he hides because he believes he must appear strong, but strength without direction can become a weakness, and silence without wisdom becomes a trap, and that is why I have come to you, because you can see what he cannot, you can feel what he ignores, you can sense danger long before he recognizes it, for your spirit and his spirit are bound in a way heaven acknowledges, and your prayers for him rise louder than storms, louder than curses, louder than darkness, and even now, your prayers are the very reason the enemy has not succeeded in pulling him off his path, for every time you cried for him, every time you worried for him, every time you placed your hands on your head and whispered my name, I sent angels to intervene, I dismantled the plans formed against him, I weakened the influence of those who meant him harm, and I blocked paths he should never walk. But my beloved child, understand this, your son is reaching an age, a phase, a moment in life where choices become anchors, decisions become weapons, and small steps create big consequences, and because of this, the enemy is trying harder now. Not because your son is weak, but because he is rising, because his purpose is nearing activation, because his destiny is approaching a turning point that will elevate him into a level of influence, maturity, and blessing he does not even realize he is close to. And when greatness draws near, attacks become sharper, distractions become louder, and wrong friendships become more dangerous, and that is why I am instructing you to stay close, to stay alert, to stay spiritually awake. Because there is a moment coming very soon, sooner than you think, when he will face a choice that will feel small, simple, or harmless, but it will be the dividing line between divine alignment and painful delay, and in that moment, your voice, your guidance, your correction will echo in his mind, and it will be the factor that turns him away from danger, for even when he acts distant, even when he acts stubborn, even when he seems uninterested, his soul listens to you, his heart responds to you, and your presence grounds him in ways no one else can, and this is why I am preparing you, why I am strengthening you, why I am opening your eyes, because you are about to play a role in saving him from a decision that would have cost him far more than he understands, and when you speak to him, when you correct him, when you guide him, when you stand firm with love, heaven will stand behind you like a wall of fire, angels will block the influence trying to touch him, and I will cover both of you with a protection so strong that even the shadows will retreat. And after this moment passes, after he chooses correctly, after he returns to the path of purpose, you will see a transformation in him, a clarity in his spirit, a strength in his decisions, and a maturity in his heart, because the correction you give now will become the foundation for his future, and your obedience to my voice will become the shield that saves him from what was coming. For I your God do not speak without reason, and the danger you fear will not touch him as long as you stand in the position I have called you to, because you and your son are not walking alone, heaven is walking with you. My beloved child, now that I have unfolded the unseen battleground surrounding your son, I must reveal something even deeper, something that will help you understand why this moment is so critical, why this season feels heavier, why your son's spirit feels unsettled, why his emotions fluctuate without explanation, and why he sometimes withdraws into silence even when surrounded by people. Because he is standing between two spiritual tides, the pull of purpose and the pull of distraction, and the enemy has been waiting for this exact season, this exact age, this exact vulnerability to attempt to reroute him, not because he is weak, but because he is becoming powerful, because he is stepping closer to the version of himself that will carry influence, wisdom, strength, and blessings far greater than he currently imagines, and every destiny that carries light is tested by shadows before it is released. But your son does not know this, he does not see the magnitude of his future, he does not understand the spiritual weight he carries, and so he interprets these internal storms as confusion, frustration, or emotional imbalance, and that confusion is what danger tries to hide behind, because the enemy knows that if your son chooses wisely in this moment, if he receives correction now, if he listens to your guidance, then the path ahead of him will open rapidly, blessings will multiply, opportunities will surface, clarity will flood his mind, and he will rise faster than darkness can follow, and that is why the enemy is pushing distractions closer, voices louder, temptations more accessible, influences more deceptive, because he knows he cannot stop destiny, he can only delay it through decisions, and this is the very reason I am elevating your awareness, strengthening your spirit, heightening your intuition, and sharpening your discernment. Because you are the one I chose to stand between your son and the danger approaching him, and every time you feel a sudden worry for him, every time you sense something is wrong even when nothing looks wrong, every time your heart becomes heavy for reasons you can't explain, those are not random moments, those are spiritual alarms I place inside you, prompting you to intercede, prompting you to pray, prompting you to pay attention, prompting you to watch over him when he thinks he doesn't need watching, because the enemy has been trying to plant confusion in his mind, lies in his emotions, and false confidence in his decisions, but I have not allowed it to take root, because your prayers uproot what darkness tries to plant, and your love builds a shield around him that the enemy cannot penetrate. But my beloved child, the time has come where your correction must meet your prayer, your action must meet your faith, your voice must meet your discernment, because you cannot only pray for him, you must speak to him, guide him, confront him, not with fear, not with anger, not with panic, but with the authority I have placed in you, because your son is approaching a decision that looks harmless, feels harmless, even appears positive on the surface, but carries consequences he is not spiritually mature enough to see, and if he steps into it without your intervention, it will drain his time, his energy, his focus, and his discipline, slowing down the future I planned for him, bending his path away from alignment, and creating storms he was never meant to walk through. But hear me, he will not make this mistake, he will not step into this danger, he will not be overtaken by this influence, because I am warning you now, I am awakening you now, I am instructing you now, because through your voice I am about to save him again, and when you speak to him, even if he looks confused, even if he reacts with resistance, even if he tries to deny what you are sensing, your words will enter his heart in ways he cannot fight, because I will stand in that conversation with you, I will fill the room with my presence, I will soften his spirit, I will open his understanding, and the correction you deliver will not push him away, it will pull him back, it will realign him, it will protect him, and it will preserve the destiny I designed for him long before this world even knew his name, because I your God do not warn without purpose, and I do not prepare you for battles you cannot win, and this danger around your son will not prevail, because you are rising, you are listening, and you are obeying my voice with the courage of a parent chosen by heaven.